a word similar to that, chronology. Chronology is the study of the sequence of events, or the timeline. It comes from chronos, the Greek word for time, and of course, logy at the end means the study of something. In this case, it's not the study of time, it's the study of the sequence of events. So if we wanted to look at for example, the First World War, 1914, 1918, if you looked at the chronology of that, you would be saying what happened at particular dates. So if you're studying what happened in a sequence of events for any particular event, that's the chronology of how of the sequence of events, the different events that happened over a period of time. So that's chronology. And then we've got a chronometer, which is a device used for measuring time. But it's usually, you could, in theory, describe a watch or a clock as a chronometer, but it's usually used for marine chronometers. It's usually used for mechanical devices or electronic devices that are on board a ship or in a big for astronomy as well. So it's usually big devices.
It's probably worth mentioning, Steve. Can I just mention something? We have just actually lost the live stream.
Have we?
We're back now.
So have I just wasted the last 5 minutes?
I don't know if you've wasted the last 5 minutes, but there was a problem. I can actually see here on the screen as well that the chat has been disconnected, and a lot of people are asking why.
I'll start again.
Well, you don't have to start again because we don't know where we were cut off.
Well, maybe someone can tell us. Where were we cut off? And,
Pencil. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? Pencil says a couple of sissies.
Well, we admit to that.
Hello to you.
We admit to that.
Hello. And now Pencil is here. We have 3 sissies. Isn't that great? What a lovely party we're having. Also, Julie says, I want to go back in time to see my mother again. Isn't that lovely? How kind.
That would be nice.
I'm going to see if we can get the live chat working, because I know what's going to happen. Because we've been disconnected, the live chat now will not work. So I need to make sure that the live chat will actually function. So this is the problem now. Let me just see if we can get that working.
Shall I carry on talking in the meantime? Yes.
Oh, wait there. Yes, don't get too excited, Steve.
You mean we might not be back on?
We're back on now.
Oh, right.
Oh, okay. We are on. Lovely. It's just that we haven't got the live chat working now.
We need the live chat. We can't possibly exist without the live chat.
Please try again later. I don't know what they're talking about.
Shall I mention another word, Mr. Duncan?
Oh, here we go. It looks like we're back. Successfully connected. We are now back. Yes, just carry on with the next one, Steve. Sorry about that. It's not my fault. It's YouTube. I don't know what they're doing at the moment. They're doing all sorts of silly things. Testing.
If someone could tell us where we blacked out, did you see any of the words that I just showed? Which word did you black out? Was it horology? Did you see horology? Did you see chronometer? Did you see chronology? Please tell us, and then we can go back. Right, so we'll carry on with chronometry, which is the science of the measurement of time.
Yes.
Not to be confused with chronology.
I hope you got some idioms there.
I have, Mr. Duncan.
Ooh.
So chronometry is the scientific study of the measurement of time, usually applies to electronic devices such as atomic clocks, digital clocks. Don't get chronometry mixed up with chronology, because chronology, we've already looked at that one, is the study of the events in a sequence of time.
Yes. Or you can have an order where something happened. You can have chronological order.
That's it.
So chronological order means that you are showing something in the order that it happened in time, from the earliest to the latest. or the most recent.
Like geographical periods or
That's it.
kings and queens of England.
Yes.
Uh,
In the order that they came to the throne. So chronological order.
yes, that's what it said earlier. That's what I was talking about earlier when I said chronology. There we go. Study of the sequence of events. Actually writing down when those events occurred.
That's good.
Have we... Kronos is the god of time, exactly.
Yes, that's where it came
Greek.
from.
So that-
It's amazing how many words, though, do come from Greek mythology.
So that I wanted to do those words because they were...
Even the days of the week. Yes, it's okay.
I wanted to go through those because they were important little markers, words that are often used when you're talking about the measurement of time or the study of time.
So why is minute called minute?
I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe you can tell us.
I was
didn't
hoping
look
it'd
that
be.
up, Mr. Duncan.
I was hoping it'd be there in your list.
Going back to horology, it's the study of the measurement of time, but it's also the art of making clocks and watches. So if your horology is also the art of making clocks and watches, not just the study of those clocks and watches.
So
and
it's not
measurement
just
of
the
time.
subject of time. It's also
Yes.
the actual making or manufacturing of
Yes.
watches and clocks.
Which you wouldn't expect because it's got ology on the end. You would think it was just the study of it, but in fact it's also the art of making them,
making.
which is interesting because we were watching a program of the presenter that talks a lot about, likes to sell clocks and watches, and he uses the word, this is the art of horology. We thought he was using the word incorrectly, but he's not.
So horology is either the study of time or the manufacture of time pieces.
Yes.
So a clock or a watch is a timepiece. So that's another way of describing something that measures or keeps time, a timepiece.
Somebody has said there, Sergio says minute is mini, which means small. So a small measurement of time. Maybe
Yes.
that's where that
it's
comes
a bit,
from.
It's a bit like a minuet. A minuet. 'Cause
Something
there is
small.
there is a piece of classical music called the Minuet Waltz or the Minute Waltz because it only lasts for 60 seconds. Is that right?
Well,
Isn't it a piece of piano music and it just
there
lasts
is,
for...
but I don't know whether that's a minuet. I wouldn't know exactly what that. I think that just means a small piece of music.
Yes, but that is also where minute derives from as well.
Yes, meaning small.
Hello, Mr. Duncan, says Ahmed. Yes, we had a slight problem with the connection, but I'm pretty sure it's YouTube. It's not us. Okay.
Are we back on? Can everyone see us and hear us?
Months apparently are named after the Roman gods and goddesses. Yes, I didn't say months, I said days of the week.
Well, but someone's just adding something in there.
Yes, but okay. Blue Thunder. Your like is gone. I don't know what that means. Julie G, it's working now. Everyone's talking about the connection. Nobody's actually talking about the subject that we're talking about. They're all talking about the fact that the connection isn't very good today. It's not my fault. It's YouTube or maybe Mr. Steve's terrible internet connection. Who knows?
I've got a very good internet connection, Mr. Duncan.
Yes. We'll see.
Well, only time will tell.
We have
Mr. Duncan.
idioms and expressions.
Only time will tell
Connected.
whether people can see this live stream or not.
Connected to time.
So if you use the phrase "only time will tell," it means something that will not be proven until a later date. The truth of something cannot be determined right now. It will only be revealed at a later date. For example, there is no way of knowing for sure if the operation was a success. Only time will tell. Will President Trump be good for America? Only time will tell. So you're saying you don't know what will happen you can't tell what's going to happen in the future about a particular event. So if you say only time will tell, it means that obviously over a period of time, usually a long period of time, the truth will be revealed, because often things are unpredictable and you can't tell exactly how it's going to go.
That's an interesting example, by the way. I like the example that you used there. Very interesting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And here's another one. In the nick of time. Oh, I'll wait till you've let that graphic pass through.
It's not a graphic.
What is it then?
It's
What would you describe that as?
it's baby Trump.
In graphical form. In the nick of time. It means almost too late. At the last possible moment, the critical moment. It comes from the word nick in the 1500s. Imagine this, 1500s. They used the word nick to mean the critical moment. For example, he arrived at the wedding just in the nick of time. So he just arrived at the critical point.
With moments to spare.
Moments to spare.
With moments to spare.
Mr. Steve arrived for the live stream today just in the nick of time. So I just arrived at the point where Mr. Duncan was introducing me. Had I been any later, you wouldn't have seen me. The ambulance arrived in the nick of time 2 minutes later, and the patient would have been dead.
Great.
So that's how you use that expression.
I love your cheerful examples. What I was going to say, that of course, nick refers to slice. So when they say in the nick of time, it refers to a slice. So maybe a small moment. So you only made it with maybe a moment to spare or a moment left.
Well, according to the dictionary, it derives from the word nick, which means the critical moment.
Okay.
Used in the 1500s. So I've told you, Mr. Duncan. You're just making it up.
I haven't had a shave today. I've just realised I haven't shaved. I was so late today. I haven't even had a shave. No wonder.
Well, Mr. Duncan.
It isn't working.
There's no time like the present. Huh? Do you see how I'm using that phrase there? There is no time like the present, which means now is the right or the best time to do something. Conditions are favourable right now to do something. It's advice, really. It's advice to make the most of the day or this particular moment. I want to cut the grass, but I can't be bothered. And someone might say to you, well, it might be raining later, so do it now. There's no time like the present. So take advantage of situation now to do something. It's advice.
Yes, before it's too late.
Before it's too late.
Do it now.
Do it now.
So maybe there is a plan that you have with your life. Maybe something you want to do with your life. You know, if you move that nearer, it just goes out of focus.
Oh, right. Well, I didn't know that.
Of course not. So if there are people out there with plans, maybe something you want to do with your life, maybe something you want to do, you must not wait. You must not hesitate. There is no time like the present.
Here's another one. In the meantime. Do you want to move to the centre? In the meantime, simultaneously that means do something while waiting for something else to occur. So if you're waiting for something else to happen and you've got some time in between, that means you're doing something in the meantime. For example, I'll see you for next week's lesson. Aha. In the meantime, why don't you practice your alphabet? So we've got to wait a week till we've got to wait till Wednesday to the next live stream. So in the meantime, why don't you practice your English at home in front of the mirror? In the meantime, doing something while something else is also going on in the background. The meal won't be ready for 20 minutes, so why don't you go and phone your mother in the meantime? Or the meal won't be ready for 30 minutes, so why don't you go and mow the grass? Always comes back to mowing the grass. So do something else while something else is going on. Here's another one. From time to time, which means every now and then, occasionally, at periodic intervals, non-specific intervals. You're not putting any specific time on when these events are going to happen. So, for example, I visit my family from time to time. It just means you go there occasionally, maybe once a month, once a week, and then once every 2 months. So no specific time interval, just now and then, from time to time. Can we meet up from time to time just to make sure the project is on schedule? So your boss might say to you, you've got a project at work, and he just wants to keep track of it. So he might say, well, that you're doing very well so far, but let's meet from time to time just to make sure everything's on track. From time to time. Right, that's it. So here's another one. Race against time. It's nearly 3:30, so we're racing against time now. That means the effort to do something within a fixed, usually short period of time. A race against time in a situation usually pressured where there is short time to get a task done. It was a race against time to get everything prepared for today's live stream. Yes, Mr. Duncan?
I'm just reading your handwriting is terrible, by the way. How do you read that? It looks like a spider has fallen into the inkwell and then gone across the page. It's just terrible. We've only been on for 13 minutes.
Pardon?
Because we were cut off. The previous part of the live stream has gone now, and now we've only been on for 13 minutes.
Well, we're still going at 3:30.
I have no idea why that happened. I have a feeling it may have been at this end, because sometimes we do lose the internet connection here. So I'm not sure. It may be here, it may be somewhere else, but very unfortunate.
Race against time. We're racing against time now, Mr. Duncan. Do something within a fixed period. For example, I've said that already. It was a race against time to get the live stream prepared for today. Every morning, if you've got children, you'll resonate with this one. Every morning, it's a race against time to get the kids to school because they never get up in time. You can use the phrase a race against the clock as well. Instead of race against time, you can say race against the clock. So if you've got a limited time to get something done and you're rushing around, it's got to be done by a certain time.
You can also say that something is being done against the clock. So you are racing a time limit. So there is a time limit and you are racing or you are against the clock. So maybe the clock is ticking down. It's ticking down and you have to beat the clock. You are against the clock.
Time and again. This is the last one, Mr. Duncan.
Okay.
Time and again. Or time after time. Something that's happening over and over, again and again. Time and again. Over and over, again and again. Time after time. They're all synonyms, really. I've told you time and again to get up earlier, so it's no surprise you've missed the bus again. I've watched that film time and again. So it's just something that you do over and over. You're being very distracting, Mr. Duncan. I'm trying to do something here and you're distracting me. So time after time, Mr. Duncan, you distract me away from what I'm trying to do to your viewers out there in the world of English. You're forgiven, Mr. Duncan. Come back.
Oh, that's okay then. That's nice. Apparently, why did you say you're here on Wednesday when you're not?
Aren't I?
Well, you said you're not. You said last week you're not here on Wednesday.
No, I'm not. But if you hadn't pointed that out, nobody would have known.
I love the fact that people who don't even know us personally are more aware of what you're doing.
Why did somebody say that I'm not here on Wednesday?
Yes, you said you were, and someone on the live chat said you're not.
I was just using it to show how that phrase is used.
Doesn't have a clue.
It's not a literal meaning. I am not here on Wednesday, in fact. But there we go. That's some uses, idioms and phrases. Do you know, we're getting thunderbugs coming in. Have you noticed?
Yes.
Those minute little black bugs that we get at this time of the year. They're crawling all over my skin.
Yes. They're called thribs.
Thrips.
Thrips.
Thrips. THRIPS. HRIPS, or thunderbugs. They tend to come out in hot weather.
They're very
When we're
small.
about to get a thunderstorm.
They're very small.
And annoying because they itch when they're crawling over your skin.
And you get thousands and thousands of them. They're a pain in the neck.
Time after time is a song. Time after time, I tell myself that I'm so lucky to be loving you. So lucky to be the one who long to be.
The neighbours were complaining the other day. We actually had complaints from the neighbours. They said
we didn't.
They said sometimes we can hear Steve singing. We're not sure if it's Steve singing, or maybe there is a dog being castrated.
I wondered if someone would notice that. Wilson, Alonso, Giraldo, Quitian has realised that Time After Time is a song.
Yes.
And it is. Well done for spotting that.
Yes, but it's not the song that you're on about. Time After Time is a song by Cyndi Lauper.
Well, there's that one as well.
Time after time.
But depends on how old that person is.
Time after time. So, yes.
Probably there's two songs with that.
I imagine there are lots and lots of songs that have time in the title. Talking of time, my most favourite time travel...
Oh, I wondered how long it would be before you went on about that.
My time travel movie, the one that I love, Back to the Future. There were 3 Back to the Future films. So they are my favourite time travel movies. Of course, there are many others as well, but my favourite time travel movies, Back to the Future, the trilogy. Now, of course, a lot of people say that this film has a lot of flaws, a lot of problems, and one of the biggest problems is the thing they call the grandfather paradox. Are you aware of that?
When you go back in time and try and kill one of your ancestors, and then so what happens to you?
Yes. Well, that's not
You die.
actually what I was talking about. The grandfather paradox is the thing that is actually talked about in the movie, but not directly. And that is the problem. If you go back in time to change the past, and if that event is directly...
Well, that's what I said.
...connected to you personally, then if you are changing the past, then what follows will also change, which includes you going back in time. So if you can't go back in time, how can that event change? And that is what they call a paradox. You can't go back in time to change the past if it affects your future, because then you probably won't be able to go back in time. Because if you, for example, a good example, yes, that was a good example, Steve. I was going to get onto that. It's just that you jumped the gun.
Well, you asked me.
I just asked if you knew, and then you say, yes, that's it. See?
The butterfly effect. Yeah, that's why I don't think time travel is possible, because, well, if it was possible, we'd be seeing people coming back.
Yes,
in time. They'd be here.
They'd be popping up everywhere.
They'd be saying,
hello, I'm from 2085, and I've got to tell you something. Everything is worse now than it was in 2018.
So either it's not possible to travel back in time, or the human race dies out before we invent time travel. That's the other explanation.
Can I just say that the human race is not going to die out? We will just
easily die out.
We will just evolve into something else.
We could blow ourselves up. A giant asteroid could hit the Earth.
Yes.
Well, let's think. How long do you think it will take to invent time travel? Let's say it takes 200 years.
Well, no, I think
what can happen in 200 years?
Well, yes, but it doesn't exist because no one is coming back.
Oh, no, well, that's what I mean.
Well, that's
but if the human race dies out
yes,
before we invent time travel,
yes, I don't know. What is the point of that, though?
Well, time travel could be possible, but because the human race dies out before we invent it, we're not seeing people coming back in time.
Yes, but that doesn't make any sense.
It does.
Yeah, but how do you know that? Or maybe,
I don't know.
or maybe we're just really rubbish at working out how to travel through time, and the human race survives for another million
Well,
years.
that's what I'm saying. Either time travel
don't know.
isn't possible at all, or if it is, we don't know because the human race dies out.
Or
If time travel is possible,
Yes.
then we will invent it at some point in the future.
We won't.
I know I don't think we will either, but
No.
if it was possible, people would be coming back in time.
Yes.
Unless we died out before we invented it.
Yes, but how do we know that we died out before we invented it?
Oh,
But we don't know, do we? We just never invent it because we don't know how to do it. I think that's more likely to be the case.
nobody knows.
Nobody knows, that's it. Even scientists. There are scientists with great big heads. Have you ever seen a scientist? He's got a really big head, and you can see that his brain is going inside his skull. Even they don't know. Even they have no idea about time travel or what time is. They have theories, but they can't really prove it. It's very, very hard. T.S. says Doraemon does time travel. Yes, I know that. Doraemon is a very clever little robot, and Doraemon can go back in time. He is a little cat. He's not a robot. He's actually a cat. But he has this magic ability that allows him to go back in time and travel. And he has a little friend as well. So yes, I know all about Doraemon because I used to watch him when I was living in China.
Although they do know you can travel forward in time. We know that because they can measure that. If you go very fast, go in a plane and fly very fast. We've discussed this before. And you have a clock on the plane and a clock on the ground. The one on the ground is going slower than the aircraft speeding, by billionths of a second. But in fact, you can measure that.
Yes.
You do go faster in time if you travel very fast.
Yes.
So
So that's all to do with light. So
Relativity.
you have to travel, but to make a big difference, you have to actually travel faster than light.
to make a big difference.
Yes. So
Or
that's
close to.
yes, but we're on about time travel. So that's the only way it's possible. You've got to travel at some.
Well, if you want to measurably travel in time.
Well, that's what we're
yes.
talking about. We're talking about traveling
I know,
in
but
time.
I was just saying that it obviously is possible to travel forward in time because you can measure that today on the Earth.
Yes,
But
but I'm actually on about physically climbing into a big pod or maybe a DeLorean and getting it up to 88
no
miles
one's doing that.
up to 8. Well, yes, that's. I know. I've said that about.
I'm not arguing with you.
I've said that about 6 times. Nobody's doing it because it doesn't exist. Because if it did exist, people would be coming back and
yes,
saying
back in time. That's
Yes.
different to going forward
yes.
in time.
Well, I'm just talking about time travel. Time travel generally. Maybe you could go back to next week, or maybe to the start of this live stream, and maybe I could
wouldn't
just
bother.
I could just. Well, no, I would. I think it's a good idea because then we can just not do it.
Oh dear. Anyway, it's nearly time to go. Mr.
Time.
Duncan. Even though we've only been on for 15 minutes, it's nearly time to go.
Yes, TS says you are right, Mr. Steve and Mr. Duncan, because the real time travel machine is the plane.
Exactly.
Yes, if you travel,
shrinking time.
if you travel by plane, you do actually alter time, maybe just a very little bit.
But does TS mean that you're travelling in time? Because obviously, if you walked somewhere, you're actually going far. You're travelling fast. You're getting somewhere ahead of time because you're travelling much faster. Not literally travelling in time, but
Oh, I see.
because you're saving time.
And of course, you could be talking about time zones.
or saving time by travelling on a plane
Yes.
instead of going on a boat.
Yes, but I think also it's
Maybe
about
that's what TS means.
it's also about just time zones. So I could be here and go
Yes.
back in time, but I'm not really going back in time. I'm just going to a previous time zone.
You could go to America and go seven hours back in time.
Yes, but the problem is it would take you 8 or 9 hours to get there. So you couldn't actually do it physically. You would then have to travel very quickly. Whew, this is a big subject, but I thought it was a good one because today it is the anniversary of my live stream starting. And can you believe it? We had a technical problem. Thanks YouTube or Mr. Steve's internet provider. So it's one of them.
Nothing wrong with my internet provider, Mr. Duncan.
Yes. Well, we have in the past had a lot of problems with the internet here.
Well, you ought to get your own then, instead of blaming me.
Yes, I think I might. I think I might.
Is it time for us to go then?
Almost time. Yes, I'm just making up for the...
For lost, are you making up for lost time, Mr. Duncan?
I'm making up for lost time.
There's another phrase that we didn't mention today.
We have lost some time.
Making up for lost time.
We have lost some time.
So you do a lot of things very quickly, cram them all into a short space of time because you've wasted or lost some time beforehand.
I'm wondering now about Jeff. Jeff says I would go back in time to Mr. Duncan's sexy biking shorts and tear them off. Okay.
All right. Okay.
That's an interesting moment there of time.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff, for that offer.
Not mine then. He doesn't want to tear my shorts off.
All I can say is I'm glad that time travel does not exist. Belarusia.
Well, how do you know?
What? Are we having that conversation again? It doesn't exist because no one's coming back to say, hello, I'm from the future or I'm from... Well, it can't be from the past. You can't have a time machine in the past because that's impossible. But you can have a time machine in the future, but we know that there aren't any because no one is coming back in time.
Sergio makes an interesting point there. For this to be possible, the past has to be somewhere, but where? What's happening to the live chat, Mr. Duncan? Are we going back in time? Is that what's happening there?
I think we're in a wormhole.
Who? I've forgotten who made that comment now. Can you go back to the somewhere where I just read a comment?
Oh, you want me to go back?
The other way. No, the other way. Forward.
Oh, here we go again.
Forward. There we go. No, I don't know where it was now.
Oh dear.
Go back then.
Okay, go back a bit more. I'm sorry about this, ladies.
Oh, there we go. Stop, Sergio. Go back up again. Sergio, for this to be possible, the past has to be somewhere. So where? Well, that's an interesting point to make because on that program we saw the other night, one scientist said that, there is this theory of time, that there is this block of time. So all events are happening all the time. The past, the present and the future, right from the beginning of time, right to the end of time, they're all happening all the time. But we just happen to be moving through it. So in other words, all the future is already mapped out. It's all there. The past is still there. It's all happening. And this scientist said the dinosaurs are still doing whatever they used to do. Every past event is still going on. It's just a big block of time. But we just happen to be here now moving through it. That makes your mind boggle.
It's rubbish. Because then you'd be aware.
It probably is rubbish.
But it is rubbish because then you'd be aware of it.
Well, I don't know how that would work.
So if we're constantly doing this, for goodness sake, I can't think of a worse scenario in my brain than an everlasting live stream. Imagine if this live stream went on forever. Sometimes it feels like it's going on forever. Like today, for example.
Jeff said, you never showed the picture of your white shorts. He. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
It was positively pornographic. That's why.
I could never show that because I would have to blur.
How much you could always charge? You could charge Jeff a fee to see you in your white shorts.
That's the power of love.
Wouldn't want to see Mr. Duncan in them now. I don't think we'd want to see you in those lycra shorts now. Because you can't turn back time. Look at that.
I think I'm having a baby.
See that? That is now there. That's added sort of a millimetre to your waistline last night, Mr. Duncan.
I think it's more than a millimetre.
Mr. Vodka Drinker is now drinking vodka. And that's what I'm going to call you from now on.
I don't blame you.
Mr. Vodka.
I think I might start drinking something myself. Apparently the football match is about to start.
Oh, well, we better go then, because everyone will go. What's the tennis match doing, I wonder?
I think everyone's gone anyway. You know, when we got cut off.
Is the Wimbledon final over?
Wimbledon is taking place. I don't think it's over yet. I think that's still actually happening. So a lot of sport taking place. Of course, England got thrashed last week.
Yes.
In the football and also in the cricket as well.
Cricket as well.
We're not doing very well. The English teams are not doing very well. We don't have any British players in Wimbledon, the finals. We don't have anything to bring home from Russia in the World Cup. You don't get anything for fourth place. And also cricket. We got thrashed last week. I think it was by, I want to say Pakistan. I think it was Pakistan. They thrashed England.
We're not very good at winning sporting events. We haven't got that killer spirit. We haven't got that edge. We're quite happy to be sort of second or third. We haven't got that real winning spirit. And of course, if you're being paid, as we discussed this earlier, if you're a footballer and you're being paid £500,000 a month or more in some cases, where's the incentive to win?
Yes.
Because you're going to get that money anyway.
That's it. The thing about the World Cup is it's just a slight diversion from what they normally do. So normally they play football for their local teams and they get a huge amount of money. There are some football players, they get £500,000 a month, and some actually earn £1 million a month. It's incredible.
And that's just the start of it, because then they're doing all these advertising deals, promoting
that's it,
sportswear or
sponsorships.
So that's just, that's going to probably double or treble their
income. The point that I'm making is the World Cup is just a small thing to them. It's just a tiny thing. So now they're knocked out, or now they've been completely knocked out, and the final is about to take place. They can just go to their Caribbean island or back to their big mansion with the gold bathtub and with their beautiful wife and their big sports car. So really, they don't really care, because they're not losing anything. They won't have money taken off them. They're still all millionaires. I think that was the point that Pedro was making last week. He said there's a lot of money involved, and it would appear that some football players are very greedy.
Well, there was I can't remember which. I'm sure it was the North Korean football team, or maybe it was the Russian team.
North Korea.
Years ago, I can't remember what sporting event it was now. Yes. They were literally, if they didn't do well, they were going to be injured or killed when they got back home. This happened in a sporting event. I mean, that's the threat you want.
Yes.
You play for the country. If you don't win, we're going to kill you when you come back. There's a good incentive. I can't remember which country it was now.
No.
I can't remember which sporting event it was.
You have to make sure you get it right. You can't just say anything.
Yeah, but I'm saying somebody did. There was a country that threatened their sports people.
Let's just say China.
Well, it could have been China. I'm not saying I know who it is. I'm saying I don't know who it is.
It does sound like the sort of thing that China would do.
I don't think it was. I think it was North Korea. I can't remember. Maybe somebody can tell us. Right, I'm off, Mr. Duncan, because I've got things to do. Time waits for no man.
Yes.
Time waits for no man, which means there's a certain urgency to get things done. If I don't get it done, it'll be dark, and I won't have got all the jobs in the garden done that I need to do.
That's it,
Mr. Duncan.
It actually expresses the fact that nature is always moving. Time and tide wait for no man.
Yes, time waits for no man. Time and tide waits for no man.
I think it's actually Shakespeare. I think Shakespeare coined that.
We'll never know unless someone tells us.
Okay, Steve, you're going.
I'm going.
I can tell.
I'm going because I want to. I'm thirsty as well, and as I say, I've got jobs to do, and I can't stay here any longer, Mr. Duncan. So I won't see you on Wednesday.
No.
I will see you next Sunday. I'm going to see a friend of mine in Birmingham, Lichfield, on Saturday, and so I may be a bit worse for wear. I may be a bit, feeling like I haven't had enough sleep or I've had too much to drink. So what state I will be in on Sunday will be anyone's guess.
Well, only you know that.
I do. Right. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, Mr. Duncan.
Mr. Steve is
See
going
you
now.
for salmon later, because I will be cooking some salmon later.
We're having salmon tonight.
We always do on a Sunday.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Steve.
got it half price, by the way, in the week. They were doing a sale. I got loads of it half price.
Get your
Bye-bye.
half price salmon.
Are you going to fade me out, or shall I just walk off?
I'm going to put a beautiful sight over you. There we go. Mr. Steve has now left the building. He's left by the nearest exit. And there is the view today. Isn't it beautiful? Beautiful view today. It is absolutely scorching hot. It is so hot. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. It's been a little strange because we had a slight technical problem. That's the reason why we stayed on a little longer. For those who joined us after we were disconnected. Can you believe it? YouTube disconnected me. I can't believe it. So I will be back on Wednesday, but there will be no Mr. Steve on Wednesday. He won't be here. Isn't that terrible? Maybe. So Wimbledon is taking place. The World Cup also is about to take place. And I thought we would end with two things. A little bit of tennis in the garden. And also the ending of my very first live stream 2 years ago today. I will see you on Wednesday, 10 p.m. UK time. Thanks a lot for your company. Thank you very much to Jeff and also Manoj, Stanislav, Belarusia, Shirin, Sergio, Anna, Sukat, Amruwadi. Thank you very much to all of you for watching us today. Once again, apologies for the slight technical problem. It's not my fault, honestly. I like salmon very much, says Amruwadi. Me too. I love salmon. That is it. There is no more. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of English saying thank you very much for watching me today. I'm not sure how this live stream will appear later because now there are 2 parts, unfortunately. I might delete the whole live stream and then just edit it together. So we'll see what happens. And of course, until the next time we meet right here on the World Wide Web, this is Mr. Duncan saying thanks for watching my live streams for the last 2 years. And of course, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Ta-ta for now.
Okay, I'm going to wrap it up now because I've been on for 3.5 hours and I think we should end it there. I will be back next week, don't worry. I will be here on your video screen or mobile device or TV set, depending on where you watch me. I will be back next Friday at 1 o'clock UK time. In the United Kingdom it's 1 o'clock. It's around about 7 hours later in Asia, 7 hours later in Asia, and about 5-6 hours before in other parts of the world. So for some people it's the morning, and for others it's late at night, and for me it's afternoon. It's now 29 minutes past 4, and I think it's time for me to end this lesson. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope this has been fun, and I will be with you next week, live as live can be. And just in case you missed it earlier, this thing is for catching spiders. It is a spider catcher. You can catch the spiders without killing them. Okay, that's all from me for today. I will see you very soon. Thanks a lot for watching me. If you have been watching me for the last 3.5 hours, or even just for the last 20 seconds, thanks a lot for watching me, talking to you, live across the world. This is Mr. Duncan in England saying, enjoy English, and you know what's coming next. What's coming next? Ta-ta for now.
Hi, Mr. Duncan. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I hope so. Congratulations on your 2nd anniversary English live stream on YouTube. You've helped so many people to learn English. I've just followed your channel for just about a year, but I am amazed by its content. Your videos are so informative, amazing, and educational with excellent quality. You and Mr. Steve are so clever and fun. I love your live stream. It gave me the opportunities to practice listening and writing in English. I love your garden and the amazing view from your window as well. Thank you so much for your effort, and I hope you keep on producing more videos. That's all for me. You know what's coming next. Ta-ta for now.